This is a 2007 Lincoln Mark LT. The reason why it's here is because his car will go into what's called limp mode. So basically he'll be driving down the highway, everything is fine, and all of a sudden he'll be pressing the gas pedal and he'll lose complete control of the gas pedal. Like he can no longer accelerate, and it's to the point where he has to pull over as quick as he can, safely of course, so that way he can stop the truck. Then what he would do is put it in park, shut it off, start it back up, and drive as if nothing ever happened. Okay, a major culprit for these issues, particularly with the Fords and the Chevys, that's going to be the throttle body. Now, just to kind of give everybody what that is, this is a brand new one. I don't like the remanufactured ones just because I don't have necessarily the best luck with them. They do work, nothing wrong with it, but I prefer new. But anyway, this is the brand new one, and basically what happens is when this gold plate that you see, when you press the gas pedal, back in the old days, I say old days, but they used to have a cable where when you'd press the gas pedal, the blade would open up. But now in today's cars, they have what's called drive-by-wire. So basically, there's no physical cables that attach to it, just electrical wires. But in any case, you press the gas pedal, and as you give it the command that you want, it opens the throttle body blade to as wide as you want it to be. So it's easy to replace these, but one thing that people forget to do is to relearn them or program them. If you don't do that, that generally puts you in a chaotic state where the truck's not driving right, or you'd be lucky if sometimes it won't start up at all, or you'll put it on and think everything's great, and then you'll have the exact same issue. So very important to reprogram or relearn the throttle body. So we're going to show everybody what it takes to get it done. All right. First things first, we need to remove the intake plenum here and here, and we have to separate everything in order to get to it. So we're going to start that process right now. Okay. There's supposed to be a bolt here, but it's missing, so we'll get one later when we put it back on. While we're here, we might as well check the air filter, see what it looks like. Not the cleanest, but it works. It's still good. Now we're gonna unplug these sensors that are on top of it. Take off this emission line right here. Right here. Okay, that's off. Now we have 4 10mm bolts that we need to take off. So let me go ahead and get my ratchet or my impact gun and take them off. Okay, another thing you want to do is you always want to check to see if this has any rips. This is the gasket. The reason being is, believe it or not, you can do all that work, and if this has a rip, it can give you the exact same symptom. Look at the throttle body up here. Okay, this is the plug to the throttle body itself, at least one of them. So the way this works, it has like a locking tab right here. You got to slide it up, which I've done so already. Then you got to push in the plastic spring. Then you can unplug it. All right, there you go. Now there's usually 2 on Fords. Yeah, one right here. That one's a little tight, but let's see if I can get it. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Now there's going to be four 10mm bolts that need to come off, and there's supposed to be a gasket underneath. Okay, that's loose. All right, there we go. Okay, now we have it out. This is what the old one looks like. You can see what happens over time. Now, one thing I want to explain about the throttle bodies. Okay, on the older ones, you can clean them up no problem, but on the newer style with as an electric setup, you don't want to take your fingers and push the blade and open it and try to clean it up and everything else. That's a good idea, but the reason why you don't want to do that is because you'll ruin what they call a potentiometer sensor inside the throttle body, and you'll throw it off calibration. So meaning, let's say you go ahead and you start cleaning it and then you put it all back together. Now it might start idling at 3,000, 2,000 RPMs, when obviously that's not supposed to happen. So if you are going to clean it, take it off. You're going to get what's called throttle body cleaner, not brake cleaner, throttle body cleaner, and you're going to spray. Now, as far as the darkness is concerned, that's not too much of what that's not too much where your concern is. You want to make sure where the blade has the opening. You want to make sure that when you do clean it, you want to make sure that it's free. You want to make sure that there's no gunk building up in between the blade and the housing. The reason being is because if that happens, when the blade closes, it can cause the car to stall, and you obviously don't want that. Obviously, this is old, so we don't really care about cleaning it, but just trying to give an idea what to do. Another trick I like to do is if I am in the position where I'm cleaning it, I like to hold it up to the light. Okay, shine it. And you want to see that light can actually come through it. That's usually a good indicator that it's clean enough that it works. So this is the old one. Now, everyone, this is the new one. Look how much more brighter that is as far as the light is concerned. You have a lot more visibility. So in turn, what that means is when we put this on, mind you, I'm not going to say it's going to be drastic, but acceleration is going to be a little quicker. Response time is going to be a little quicker, and efficiency with the engine is going to be better too as well. All because the engine can breathe a lot better. This is the gasket, and it goes in between the intake manifold right here and the throttle body. The whole point of this gasket is to seal off air leaking in places where it's not supposed to. So we're just going to go ahead and take it out like this. That's trash. We no longer want it. Replace it with this one. It's not too much extra effort, so you might as well go ahead and replace it. And keep in mind, there's two plugs. A lot of them just have one plug, but make sure both of them are put on. I can't tell you how many times you'll always do the main plug, but then you'll drive off and, hey, it's not working right, or it won't take the relearn or the program, or it's because you didn't plug this in. Or sometimes you think you plugged it in, but it's not plugged in all the way. So you want to listen for a click, typically when you plug it in. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take it. We're going to place it right on top. Make sure it's sitting where it needs to sit. I don't feel any pins or anything that are blocking it, so it just sits flush, like so. Now we're going to take our 10mm bolts and bolt it down. And then as we tighten it, I like to tighten it in an X pattern, not in a circle pattern. That way I have a more even tightness pattern. Thing that some people may do, they may take an electric gun or an impact gun of some kind and tighten them down real quick. I don't like doing that onto sensitive, crucial areas. I may do that to maybe loosen it, but I'm never going to do it to tighten it, just because of the fact that I don't want to strip out the bolts, especially in areas where air where air passes through on a constant basis, that's the last thing you want. Now you're going to have vacuum leaks and cause all kinds of unnecessary problems. So you might as well just take the time and just use a hand tool and make sure it's tight at the appropriate tightness that's needed. Okay, now that it's on, you just kind of give it like a wiggle test. Make sure it's not, make sure it's flush, not rocky or like any debris underneath it causing it to sit in an awkward position. Again, we're going in the X pattern. Now we get back here. All right, that's good right there. Again, now you just do kind of a double check, make sure it's there's not like a pebble or anything in the way. Nothing. Okay, it's solid, that's what you want. Again, don't stick your fingers in the blade, keep your hands clear from it. And then what I always like to do, I always like to plug in the smaller connector first because it's easy to forget. So we'll go ahead and take our connector right here and plug it in. Okay, did you hear that click? That's how you know you're in. Now you can do a double check, make sure it's not coming loose. Good to go there. That side of it is done. Now, we come around over here. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take our connector here. Make sure, don't forget about that locking tab. Listen for the click. Right there. Once it's in, slide your tab. That's not coming out. It's now hooked up electronically. Okay, so now it's time to put the intake plenum on and everything else on, and then we can relearn or program the throttle body. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and put the upper intake plenum on. So we're putting it back on like so. Another thing with this, put it on and make sure it's sitting well. You don't want it rocking here, rocking there. You want it firmly seated. Okay. Okay, we've managed to do so. Put them on. One thing I am going to say is keep your connectors clear, because I've made this mistake multiple times. You'll have your connector in here and you'll bolt everything down, then you'll spend another 20 minutes looking for it, when all along, and because you put it inside, now you have to take everything back apart just so you can get your connector back. So when you do jobs like this, keep your connectors clear away from items that you have to bolt down, so that way it's easy for you to find it. You don't do any damage to it, and you can just plug it right in when you're done. Go ahead and bolt these down right here. Okay. So we got our bolts in. Now let's tighten them up. Mind using the impact gun on this, but I'm not gonna go crazy, just hammer it. But so I'm just gonna meet it and then snug them. That's it. All right. And now I'll just take my ratchet and just make sure they're actually tight. That's enough. You don't need to tighten them really, really hard. Mind you, it's just kind of like a brass threads, and it's really easy to strip them. So you just want to be gentle with them. Where's his? That's just sitting there. Wow. And he didn't complain about it overheating or anything. So I'll talk to him about that, but let's finish this up. All right. Tight. Okay, that's enough. Okay. Okay, now this is tight. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our connector, plug it back in. All right, that's in. Take our emission line right here. Make sure you plug that in, because if you forget, again, it can cause us a really bad vacuum leak and cause a lot of unnecessary issues. So just plugging it in. That's it. And this has a green tab where you have to kind of pull down and then go to the right. So what you do, exact opposite, pull it down, pull it to the left, come up. There, now it's where it needs to be. Okay, all this is in order. Now we're gonna take our air filter, put it back inside. Okay. Check our plenum right here. This is basically a giant silencer, so it keeps unwanted air going through pipe sounds down to a minimum. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. Just pull it back out. Now I'm not spraying inside the tube, it's just this rubber gasket here. I'm just gonna spray just a little bit of some kind of lubricant. This is just window cleaner. And then I want this to go into this hole so that way it's secured and not just bouncing around. There, perfect. See that right there? Now it's not just gonna pop out and just bounce around. So now we take this part, put it like in here so, and then show this right here where it's supposed to go. It's supposed to be secured. Take this bolt, stick it in. Okay, tighten it up. Again, this isn't something that needs to be super tight. Just get it snug. That's it. There. See how much more secure that is versus it flopping all over the place. If he may have not have noticed, but a lot of the times you'll be hearing noises that are annoying you when all it is because you have something just loosely put on and it's just making noises to make you uncomfortable. Some people can get worried and believe something's really wrong with the car, and that's all it is. So I like to eliminate things for the customer so that way it puts them at a better state of mind. So this is where it needs to be. We're gonna ask them about this. We just found it literally just sitting here. Now that all this is where it needs to be, now we need to relearn or program the throttle body. So that's when the scan tool comes in. Okay. We're not going to start the car now until we actually get everything initialized. Another thing I need to point out is generally when you go through when you're using the scan tool, it'll ask you certain things like make sure the AC's off, or really it'll say make sure there's no loads on the car when it's running, or what else? Make sure it's in drive. Make sure it's in park. Just basically, they want the car in its most, I'd say, idle form without loads interrupting. So that way, when you do program it or relearn it, it doesn't interfere with the software. All right. Go to special functions. Electric pedal reset. Okay, well, I was trying to do a relearn or a program on the throttle body. I didn't find the feature on my X tool, so I grabbed my Snap-on. I didn't find that feature either. Turns out that for at least this particular model, I can have the throttle body on here and run the car for about 10 minutes. Let the computer actually recognize that there's a new throttle body on here. I can check it for codes, but right now, as you can see, I can hit the gas. It responds well. Idling, I'm idling like around, I'll say about 600-700 RPM. It's not stalling, not dying. I'll turn the AC on. AC's on. Idle's still where it needs to be. It didn't sink down drastically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive the vehicle around. I'm going to go on the highway, go about maybe 2 miles up one way, 2 miles back. So a total of 4. By the time I get done, let's say roughly 4 or 5 miles. But for him, what he was telling me is he would drive the car and it would be very sporadic. And I did see the code, but he wants to go to Dallas. And that from here, Dallas is 200 miles away, and that's from Conroe. So I definitely need to make sure he's in order. But to be honest, I'm very confident in the repair. I don't have any codes coming back. I like that. So just letting people know, hey, this is what we're going through in order to get it fixed. And I want to make sure I put out accurate information, so that way if anyone else is doing a repair, they have the same situation, they have the best guide we can provide. Thanks again, everyone.